guys, welcome back to my channel. I have May favorite beauty items for you guys today, and there are not a lot of items, but I think it's a good list. I really took my time to try these items before making this video, and then I think there's probably, well, actually, yeah, there's definitely 2 items here that I purchased not in May, but I finally got to use it more, and I felt good about including in a favorites video. So the first set of items are going to be from Suqqu's 2022 summer collection. I purchased one of the 2 quads that was released. This is 116 Suqqu. It is a cool tone color palette, not something we're used to seeing for summer. And I've worn this a total of 3 times. The 2 most recent times that I went out with this, 2 different people commented on the eyeshadow and they really liked it. The first thing they said about the eyeshadow is just how glittery the look was, and it's all thanks to this purple lid topper. So pretty. It is actually more pigmented than a typical Suqqu lid topper shade, and when you pop it on top of look at that. It's like a frosty purple, but it works. I mean, that's what makes this palette cool too, like a cool tone, because this is a very cool frosty metallic shade. But when you add it on top of this shade here, or if you don't use this shade and you use these 2, it's just going to give your look more pop. But because these are not particularly bright shades, it's still really suitable for daytime. Like if you were going into the office or you were having a meeting, this would still be a suitable lid topper that didn't steal the show, so to speak, or just make you stand out in a way that's like a little bit too much for the daytime. What I've noticed too is that because it's Suqqu, there is just, you know, an overall subtleness with the color payoff, pigmentation, whatever it is, and we know Suqqu is more like watercolors. You don't really see the shimmer and sparkle so much until you're in certain lighting, and when you're turning, that it's really noticeable. So it's noticeable in daytime and sure in indoor lighting, but if the indoor lighting is a little bit dimmed, it actually makes it stand out some more. So I think that's really cool. It definitely didn't jump out to me as like, wow, this is such a beautiful, eye-catching quad. But after wearing out and just getting compliments like that, I feel like this definitely has a place in my favorites video. It's also very easy to use, and I feel really good about going into these 2 shades here because they're more neutral and it's very easy to use. This gives you a pop of color, and of course this gives you that little extra something special. Along with the quad, they also released first for the line a melting highlighter, part of the kind of melting powder line. It is a beautiful highlighter, and that's quite shimmery. It is more of a metallic in finish rather than sparkles. You can see the contrast against this sparkly lid topper. I do have that on my cheeks today. In a little bit here, I'm going to apply another application just to show you that while it has impact, it's not too much, and it just falls nicely along what we expect from Suqqu. It's not too much, but it has impact. And it's champagne peachy gold payoff, so it's quite warm, but it's very beautiful. And I find that even though there's a mix of the cool color story from the eye quad, but then this highlighter is warmer, and then the blush I'll show you too. They had 2 blushes released, part of the melting powder line, and this is a fantastic blush for orange, tan lovers. Oh my goodness. It is very pigmented. You really don't need a lot, need to be a little bit light-handed, but this has a notable metallic sheen to it. It just goes on beautifully. It really suits many different type of skin tones, undertones, and so I'm just really impressed And even if you pair these two with a cooler eyeshadow look, it still goes well. It's kind of amazing. Like I don't really have better words to describe it. I think they just get the color and the undertone and all that correct. And they make it part of this collection that is cohesive, even if it doesn't look like that initially. So that is on, these items are on my list, my favorites for all of those reasons. The second item here is from Patrick Ta. It's the Major Dimensions Palette 2 with the Rose color story. I had to actually put this away from my vanity so that I wouldn't keep going back to it and I can rotate through my eyeshadow palettes. But I keep going back to it when it was on the vanity because it was so easy to create rose, pink, mauve, you know, purpley eyeshadow looks. And these two are just standouts. They do not dry down completely, but they don't smudge, they don't crease. I do use a primer for my lids. This is from NARS and it's clear, there's no pigment. But I don't even think you need that. I think this itself can be a primer. I'm just amazed. And then when you apply these shadows on top, whether it's a metallic or a topper, which you can do, you can just put this on your lids, diffuse, and then pop one of these. Or you could do a 100% matte look, pair it with these shades here, and it goes on beautifully. It doesn't grab onto the powder in a weird way. You can still work it. I find that just these two paired with a good color story is what makes his Major Dimensions palette stand out. I get it now. I understand. Because this, for all of those reasons, and the fact that it's in the color story that I really love, this is definitely a favorite. I would be a little bit surprised if it didn't make it into my, like, you know, mid-year 2022 favorite or most used eyeshadow palettes. The next item here is from Westman Atelier. It's the Vital Skincare Press Powder. I have shade Translucent. I was torn about putting this on my favorites video because while I do really enjoy most of it, most aspects, features of this product, I do have some reservations. The amount of detail I'm going to go into is more suited for a product update video, but this is a very popular product and a lot of people have been interested, are interested, still looking for reviews. And so I think this is going to be relevant and hopefully helpful to anybody still looking for like a little bit more information before making the leap. Now, it's really great for the hydration and how well it holds together my foundation while not feeling cakey or looking cakey. And all those things, I am wearing this today, except for under the eyes. I use a different powder for under the eyes, but it is all over the rest of the face. Westman Gucci, in her launch video for this product, you know, stated all that. She's actually not a fan of face powders. So it was obvious that she wanted something that felt light and was easy to use, did help extend your makeup, and just gave you a lot of good skincare nourishing qualities. And this product is exactly that. It's actually a lot of skincare products milled into this fine powder. What I especially enjoy about it is these areas here that usually I do see some lines forming or the foundation starting to come apart, and this is after a whole day of wear. It is visibly less and reduced with this powder. So I think part of it is, yes, it extends your makeup. The other part is the hydration. Also, these areas on both sides, these are my problem areas. They tend to get dehydrated easily. And then you start seeing like these lines here forming. And then the foundation kind of just like seeps in, it sort of breaks apart a little bit more. It's just not pleasant. It's just not beautiful. There's no other way to put it. But with this powder, it looks better. It looks better at the end of the day. I mean, it looks good throughout the day, and then by the end of the day when you expect things to like not be held up as well, it still looks better than anything else I've used. So for all of those reasons, I feel like it truly has a spot in this favorites video. My reservations about it. It does not set my makeup in the same way a loose powder does. And I don't think saying that, oh, it's because this product can't set makeup and not leave any tackiness. I think it just might be a general theme with non-heavy pressed powders. I have the same experience with the Kosas powder. So I really am hesitant to say like, oh, it's because of this product, it can't do that. I think it's probably not meant to do that at all. It's just, I don't like the tackiness. I've also, because it doesn't set the foundation quite like a loose powder, I've put powdered blush after applying this powder to, you know, set it. And the blush kind of grabbed onto some texture. And I knew it was because some of the foundation was still, you know, tacky, and the texture was there from just not having enough time. Not so much an issue probably if I was wearing makeup for the weekend or maybe getting ready for the evening and going out, because I have more time to prepare. But in the morning, I'm just trying to put on a look and then head to work. So way less time, like 15 minutes versus like 30 minutes when I have more time. And so that's kind of a challenge. I did find a workaround for it. And some people, you guys might hear this and you might say, forget it, I'm not going to do that. Totally understandable. But for areas where I really need that extra layer quickly, immediately, I go in with a puff and then I do this and tap it on. The beautiful thing is, because this is not a cakey powder, it's meant to just like not feel like anything on your face. It's not a problem. Like, it does not make me look cakey. It doesn't feel like it's extra heavy, but it just gives me enough product to further set the foundation and further remove some of the tackiness. And I know this makes it a two-step process in applying the powder, but it is a workaround. So what I would do is go in with my Face One or Buffer Pro from Sonia G. And then for any additional areas where I need more, I go in with this. The second last item here is from Victoria Beckham. These are her Posh glosses. The 3 nude shades that she released is actually what really made it into the favorites, but they're in different purses right now, and I just wanted to quickly sit down and film this video, so I wasn't going to go and search for all of them. But if you want to see a dedicated video, swatches of those 3 summer or new shades, I will have a link below. I'm wearing Bungalow today, paired with her Posh lipstick Girl. I just love these summer colors. I love these glosses. They are truly very hydrating. I feel good about having them on while I eat and then just simply reapplying afterwards if I feel like I need to. I've mentioned this several times, but for anybody seeing or hearing about these glosses on my channel for the first time, while they are not sticky, they do have a bit of tackiness to it, which is just fine because it does help it not transfer as easily. And second, probably helps it stay within the lines of your lips a little bit better. In fact, it's kind of funny, I was swatching these the other day and I noticed that they feather. And that feathering effect helps to like plump up your lips, but they don't spread in such a way that it gets all over the place. So I think it's like a good balance between being just tacky enough that it stays, but then it feathers a little bit, so it makes your lips look even plumper. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. So that is why these are on the favorites again, especially for those new summer shades. For my last set of items, I've been using these and I've been really enjoying them. This is the Sonia G Hinoki set. You have the bigger brush here. Now this is washed, and I did not put a brush guard on it as it was drying because I wanted to like really puff out. And then the smaller angled brush here. These are probably the softest Sonia G undyed hair brushes that I have. So incredibly soft, and nice to use like most of her products, but this is really great for bronzing. The other bronzer brush I really enjoy is actually from Rephr, number 22. Also soft, but you can see the size difference between the two. So it just depends what you're trying to get done. I feel like this being smaller, but still dense enough to do some serious buffing is good for this area here. If you're doing contouring, when I try to do contouring, I use this fan brush here. But when it comes to buffing, this does a very good job. So going in with this brush and then really buffing if I need to, I default to this. But this is also big enough for any décolletage contouring, or just adding some bronzer here, buffing out bronzer all over the face. Very, very effective. This brush in comparison, it's not quite as dense. I think that's the way to say it. It's not quite as dense, and these hairs are longer. So while it makes quick work of any bronzer, any powder bronzer, just really, really quick, if you're trying to get in a little bit more detail or have a bit more control of where the bronzer is going, like maybe you don't want such a huge area. Maybe you're just looking for this right here, like a smaller. This is the right size for it. So I wouldn't say one is better than the other. It just depends what you're trying to do. And then for the angled brush, I have a few kind of designated highlighter brushes, but there isn't really one that's like my favorite. This one might actually become a favorite over time. I just need to see and use it more often and put it to the test. But I mentioned earlier I wanted to add another application of this highlighter. I have been using this brush for that. It's angled, it's small, and because of it's not as dense, you're not gonna risk having too much highlighter on immediately, and that's what's great. Any tool that is forgiving of potential mistakes, I really enjoy. But hold on a sec here, like the highlighter itself. How it's visible but still subtle and not too much. I credit that to both the formulation and the thought behind the whole Suqqu concept and their philosophy, but also this brush. It just doesn't pick up too much product. It diffuses beautifully. It's nice and soft. I think having an angle just makes it easier too, because you're not going to get a blunt like, oh, you know, too much product. And if you do, let's go and diffuse it. Diffuse it, diffuse it. Make it less obvious. For all those reasons, this brush set is my #1 favorite for May. And shockingly, it is still in stock. I checked yesterday, it is still in stock. I think eventually, as more people talk about it, it's gonna become out of stock. These are limited edition, so I don't think she has any plans to bring them back unless people keep asking for it. But because it didn't sell out immediately, I think that lowers the chances that she'll bring it back. So if you are interested and you have been waiting for more information, hopefully everything I said now was helpful to you. Thank you guys for watching. See you again very soon in the next one. If you're new to the channel, welcome, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released. Bye.